Live commentary to come from here at the GTEC Community Stadium. Do you know what? People would go, Bradley, I remember the day when people used to turn up, buy a cup of tea, have a sing-song, and then the players would come out. Not anymore.
You should allow the listener to listen. Oh, it's just as it stops. Well, that was very impressive, and kudos to everybody involved.
Yeah, well done. They put something together there, Bradley. Did you enjoy that?
It's great. It's great.
You fan of Squid Game?
Hey, we're in the entertainment business.
We are in the entertainment business,
true,
which is something that Alex Neil said ahead of his first game in charge of Millwall. I'm not sure how entertained the Millwall fans were this afternoon, though, Bradley. Dear, oh dear. It didn't go down too well, but how typical.
I listened to Nick and Matt, great commentary, but
first half didn't sound great.
It was challenging, wasn't it? The quality of the game.
Oh dear. Typical of Gary Rowett to come back and get a 1-0 win with his new team that he's now won 3 on the bounce with, 2 at home and away at Millwall this afternoon. QPR beating Watford though in a highly entertaining game at Loftus Road earlier today, and then a highly entertaining win for Leyton Orient, 3-2 against Bristol Rovers. No match for Creepy Crawley against Charlton though. That was called off with 20 minutes to go because of waterlogged pitch. A lot of Charlton fans unhappy that it took until 20 minutes before kick-off for the referee to decide it was unplayable.
Respect is due to our correspondent Luis Mendez for posting on social media 2 Crawley backroom staff with 2 massive brooms on the pitch and saying that Crawley were deploying a pair of sweepers who Charlton would then probably sign.
A little bit frustrating. We've all been there. We've all had games called off late on though, Bradley, haven't we?
Yeah, I think Louis makes some good points actually, Phil. I'm not so sure how many ground staff there were at Crawley to sort of navigate their way through the flood on the pitch. However, it wasn't to be today, but yeah, they have to go again, won't they? But they're in good form. Nathan Jones' side, and hopefully once that one is rescheduled, a local game, they can go and get an away victory.
Right, here come the teams out onto the pitch, led out by Peter Banks, the referee. Arsenal wearing varsity jackets over the top of their shirts. I'm sure that they will be available on the club website shop for a decent price if you've got the money to spare.
They look like the fellas in Greece, don't they?
They do, or West Side Story.
Yeah, West Side Story.
Brentford are wearing more sensible training tops.
Yeah, proper training tops for the Bees brothers.
Do you like your varsity jacket, Bradley?
I see these at Crystal Palace a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's just the direction of travel. That's where we are, isn't it?
It is, oh no, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how much they retail
commercial,
for.
branding, global influence. Billy Reason beat me to it.
Our producer, Sammy Bird, no doubt has checked them out, maybe even put one on his Christmas list. Whether he got it or not, it's another matter. We'll have to check in with Santa. He's got his on now, apparently. And then they strip off
what makes you laugh, Phil, is how quickly they actually wear them, and then they
take them off.
They put them into the Christmas bags, don't they, for the kit men?
They're all going into the sack. Do you reckon? Hopefully they've got their own little name tags on there though, so they get their own one back. You would have thought. Anyway, they have stripped off. They're wearing their change kit. Our sort of what are we going to call that? Mauve and aquamarine,
aquamarine,
navy
lilac,
shorts,
lilac,
pink, purple, navy shorts and aquamarine socks with Brentford in the home kit, red and white striped shirts with just a bit of faded black into the black shorts.
Nice faded black into the shorts, I like that.
Black socks with red and white top into 2 skippers in the centre circle. A meeting of Scandinavian greatness. Christian Norgard and Martin Odegaard. The former Brentford goalkeeper, David Raya, comes to have a bounce of the ball. Golden Glove winner of last season in the Premier League. David Raya has a word with Christian Norgard, who then goes into the huddle and the Arsenal players go over to the corner where their fans are gathered. Hey Jude booms around this stadium, and eventually the PA will be turned off. We'll be able to hear ourselves.
I guess, Phil, that Sepp van den Berg coming into the defence, obviously Brentford very short of defenders, Christian Norgard being managed through an injury, he's got strapping on his left knee underneath all of those socks and the like. You do wonder if those guys are 100% fit.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It will be Brentford with the kick-off, attacking from right to left as we're looking at Mark Flecken in goal, Sepp van den Berg, Nathan Collins, Vitaly Janot, Mats Røslev, Jeha Jarmola, Christian Norgard and Keane Lewis-Potter, Mikkel Damsgaard, Brian Mbumu and Johan Wissa. David Ray between the sticks for Arsenal, who have Joran Timber, William Saliba, Gabriel and Ricardo Calafiori as their back four, Thomas Partey and Mikel Merino in midfield, with Ethan Nwaneri, Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus.
It's going to be interesting to see how Brentford line up with another experimental defence, whether or not Janelt is going to be part of a back three. Van den Berg and Collins partnering up in the middle of the defence presently. We shall see.
4 to go from the kick-off. Brentford winning a throw-in on this right-hand touchline. Mikel Arteta comes to field the ball, pats it down. The Irishman Nathan Collins will allow Mats Røslev to take the throw-in. Goes back from Røslev to Collins. Looks up, former Burnley and Wolves man. Stoke City briefly, finding a home here, and Brentford's second season. First season, a little bit sketchy at times as it's swung out wide towards Keane Lewis-Potter down the left-hand side, prodded back to Sepp van den Berg into midfield, turned around the corner by Jarmola and given away to Arsenal, who get on the ball for the first time in this first half. William Saliba sliding it out wide to his skipper, Martin Odegaard, halfway inside the Brentford half of the pitch, stepping back, couple of little step overs, good noise being generated by the home fans, and Brian Mbumu presses towards the halfway line, and it squirts back to William Saliba, who slides it forward into midfield. Partey to Saliba, slips it out wide to that right hand touchline again, and here comes Ethan Nwaneri, still very young Bradley, despite the fact that he made his debut here in that 3-0 win against Arsenal on the Sunday lunchtime, where Brentford didn't turn up until half time, and it was all over as Arsenal break into the penalty area. Sepp van den Berg trying to shepherd it out of play, crosses whipped into the edge of the 18-yard box, headed down and fielded by William Saliba for Arsenal, and sliding it towards Calafiori on this near touchline.
Confident start from Arsenal, dominating possession, forcing all of the Brentford players back in their own half. It was very similar Arsenal when they played at Selhurst Park recently.
Jesus will try and tickle it inside the Brentford penalty area, work back out wide towards Nwaneri down that right hand side again, stepping in field, twisting, turning for a cross to be whipped in by Timber, and out of play it's ricocheted for a throw-in. In the meantime, Gabriel Jesus has just pulled up with no contact. It must have been something that happened a little while ago, Bradley, and we've only played 2 and a bit minutes, but he's up to his feet, or maybe did he get winded or something? He got battered into by Christian Norgard in the bottom of the ribs.
Challenge, he just took a knock.
Slightly winded, he'll be okay. Throw in Arsenal, right hand side. Odegaard brings it under control down near the corner flag, tries some trickery, finds Joran Timber, and it's a goal kick. He thought he was being fouled by Vitaly Janot, nothing given by the referee.
Yeah, it might have been a free kick. Timber obviously had a tough first season, injuries for Arsenal, but he's really started to justify his price tag and been very consistent in that right full-back position and rolling into midfield and supporting.
Mark Flecken, who picked up an injury, had to be replaced by Hakan Valdermarsen at Brighton on Friday night. Back in the starting lineup though, has faced more shots on target than any other goalkeeper, and a flick to Keane Lewis-Potter, looking for Mbomo, cut out by David Raya on the edge of his 6-yard box. Lightning attack from Brentford down the left-hand side, but David Raya was alert to the cross that was whipped in, and now Mats Røslev has been penalised for catching Gabriel Martinelli on the halfway line. Sharp one, nasty, painful, slowly getting to his feet.
More than anything on it from Røslev, but direct from Brentford. Flick on, Lewis Potter's cross on that left-hand side. He struck it quite well, and then Buemo coming in, trying to get within the frame of the goal. Couldn't quite get across his man and before the goalkeeper. And from Raya's throw out, straight to Martinelli. Roslev sort of right down the back of his heel. He needs to now be careful because he'll be on the radar of the referee.
I think, as you say, it was a bit of an accidental challenge, clumsy challenge rather than anything intentional. But 198th appearance for Arsenal for Martinelli. As it goes back to round, it's closed down by Wissa, and his clearance is met by Sepp van den Berg, and the former Liverpool man cushions a header into Mikkel Damsgaard. He chips it over the top of Wissa. It bounces off the moistened surface of the pitch all the way through to the former Brentford goalkeeper David Raya, who went to Arsenal last season on loan with view to a buy. That was always going to happen, but when the deal was done, it was too difficult, and another injury's been picked up. And again, as Arsenal stray forward with Gabriel Jesus, it's Martinelli lying in a crumpled heap on the edge of the centre circle. Here at Arsenal with Gabriel Jesus, gets round Nathan Collins, who stabbed out a boot, tried to win it back. Mikkel Damsgaard's going to clip it up the touchline towards Brian Mbumu. He tickles it back, but he's giving it straight to an Arsenal player in the shape of Marino, and it'll be Thomas Partey. He's up to his feet. By the way, is Martinelli. Seems to be okay, Bradley. Whatever happened, it didn't last very long.
I think the long ball forward played from Raya. Collins did brilliant central defence, head it away. He was actually fouled. Martinelli well into him. The advantages had been played, and now Arsenal again around the Brentford penalty box are trying to manoeuvre a chance.
Partey finding Odegaard. He's 30 yards out from goal, clips it towards Wanyeri, edge of the D. He's still got his back to the Brentford goal, so he finds William Saliba. He dabs it forward. Saliba, one of those set-piece goal scorers for Arsenal. 26% of their goals have come from set pieces. As here's Martinelli down the left-hand side, and he's just shepherded out of play by Mads Roslev, and it'll be a goal kick.
Give the Brentford fullback a bit of confidence. But going back to Anuari, as we know, London football supporting fans love a homegrown player. He's one that I've seen, you're aware, Phil, like you mentioned, top of the game of his debut here, maybe filling the void of the hamstring injury affected Bukayo Saka. The young academy player can come in and really sort of stake a claim in Mikel Arteta's starting 11 for the next few weeks.
Joined the club when he was 8. By the age of 14 was playing in the under-18s. Was Ethan Wanyeri, as you mentioned, taking the place of Bukayo Saka. He's going to be out for a couple of months after surgery on a hamstring, and then Wissa levers in strongly on Thomas Partey, but the referee says too strongly, and it'll be a free kick to Arsenal. And then the referee says it's going to have to be taken again because he was too close and the ball was moving.
I'm liking the tempo of the game, Phil. It's a London derby. It's a bit feisty, and I think that's what Brentford have got to do. They've got to sort of niggle and get under the skin of some of these Arsenal players. You know, the great Arsene Wenger always used to say, for a London side to win the Premier League, and Arsenal have been damn good at it recently, you've got to win your London derbies, and this is another one tonight for them.
Well, they have been very good at winning London derbies. Arsenal towards the far post, headed back into the 6-yard box when Yeri tried to sweep it goalwards, clattered away by Brentford. It'll be fielded on the halfway line though by William Saliba. He just rolls it forward to Gabriel, the 27-year-old born in Sao Paulo. 191st appearance for the Gunners as Sepp van den Berg guides a header away to Keane Lewis Potter, and he booms it clear towards the halfway line, and then Calafiori, the Italian international, manages to just wriggle it away. Does Calafiori?
Yeah, you can see why the Italian has started at fullback instead of young academy player Lewis Skelly, who's maybe a little bit smaller in stature. He looks muscular. The Arsenal number 33, and a couple of 50-50 challenges with Mbuemo. He's gone in with full force.
Already been called in Italian football the new Maldini. That is some
God, yeah, that's something to live up to, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
He's got the same hairdo.
Has he got the same eyes though, Billy? That's the important question. Down the right hand side, Arsenal look to again stray forward with Odegaard, swings it square, finds Gabriel. Now it's Calafiori on the left, just tickled away from him, jabbed out a boot, did the blue-booted Mikkel Damsgaard, threaded into midfield, and Marino, the Spanish international, out wide to Gabriel Martinelli on the left, up against Mads Roslev, almost forgot to take the ball with him, slips it infield on the angle towards Gabriel. Everyone back for Brentford. This is very much like they were like in the first half against Brighton the other night. Wanyeri again, darts towards the byline, drives it across, took a deflection. First corner kick of the evening goes Arsenal's way over on that right-hand side.
Well, these are the power plays that they've been so successful at in these conditions this evening. It's wet, it's windy. This is going to be curled in. Fleck and the Brentford goalkeeper and defenders are going to be put under enormous pressure here with the movement and the power and the aggression of these Arsenal defenders that are up from the back.
Won 8 out of the 10 Premier League derbies they played in 2024, did Arsenal, drew the other 2. And it's a corner kick over on that right hand side. Plenty of movement at the far post. Saliba is being watched by Yarmolenko. The referee Peter Banks watches on as this corner kick is going to be curled in towards that far post. Heads go up, driven across the face of goal, and Brian Mbeumo gives it a mighty thump towards the halfway line. So much so it bounces once into the Arsenal half, and then David Raya is there to bring it under control on the chest.
Yeah, you can see what Arsenal are doing at those set pieces, can't you? There's a lot of extra traffic coming in from that back post.
There's a lot of the dark arts going on as well, that Arsenal are cleverly using at set pieces. As Odegaard goes from range and it sails into the mid-tier of the West Stand, the Brentford end, the Green Dragon Lane end, the Steam Museum end, whatever we're going to call it. Maybe we should have a poll.
Yeah, I like it's the water museum.
Steam and Water Museum.
Steam and Water Museum end. I think it's got a really nice, charming touch to it. What would you call the opposite us then? The M4 stand.
That end. That's
no, the opposite.
That's probably
the M4.
Well,
stand.
no, the Gunnersbury side,
no,
the Gunnersbury stand, I'd say. Where the Community Sports Trust have a massive sports hub. As here it's headed away into the midfield area for Thomas Partey, dinks it up into the air and brought under control by Ethan Wanyeri. And so saying he's in for Saka, who's a local boy, West London boy, Bukayo Saka from Greenford. Made his first foray into football, playing in Greenford. Bukayo Saka, but he's on the sidelines and he's been so important from their creative point of view, not just the goals but also the goals he creates, Bradley, and trying to fill that is a big void to fill. Goes back to David Raya inside his penalty area. 0-0, 10 played. Raya forced to go very long. Keane Lewis Potter's beneath it, heads it away into midfield. Sepp van der Berg guides it just beyond Christian Norgard. Mikael Damsgaard slides in, but is beaten to it by Thomas Partey. And now here comes Mikael Merino for Arsenal, edge of the Brentford penalty area. It finds Gabriel Jesus, who scored 5 goals in 2 games against Palace recently. Oh, it's my chair that's squeaking. I wonder what that squeaking noise was, but it's actually my chairs. Here goes Merino again. He digs out a cross, which is going to be guided away by Yarmolenko. Met though by William Saliba, and Arsenal come again into Odegaard, the skipper. Only 1 goal so far this season, but he chips it over the top. Timber keeps it in. He lofts just a high hanging cross down for Calafiori to head it away. Here's Vitaly Janot to get it further clear. Edge of the Brentford penalty area, and Mbeumo and Wissa breaking, and Wissa over the halfway line. Is that a foul? It's a good tackle from Thomas Partey. Johan Wissa looks up, and then Brentford win it back through Mikael Damsgaard, who turns away from Odegaard. And Mbeumo breaking towards the right, slid into the path of Mbeumo, up against Calafiori, takes him inside the Arsenal penalty area, left-footed, scores! Brian Mbeumo beats his former teammate David Raya at his near post. He was allowed to drift in field, and then he struck it near post, not far post, caught Raya off guard, and Brentford take the lead. Brentford 1, Arsenal 0.
1v1 brilliance. Only their second attack really in Angler. Damsgaard did really well to actually pick up a second ball centre field. They haven't done that particularly well in the opening minutes, Brentford, but that set the counter-attack. And I said about Mbeumo, could he score at Premier League level? Boy, he can. That was beautiful. Dropped the right shoulder, in on his left foot, struck it through legs, bottom corner, Raya beaten, 1-0 to Bees.
Damsgaard's assist is incredible. He wins the ball against the odds. He then goes for the Arsenal defence, straight into the Arsenal back line, drops the right shoulder, comes into that inside right channel. The ball to Nguemo isn't actually that great, but to beat Raya, his former colleague at his near post, that is delicious. 1-0 bees.
Well, I just think he meant that as well, because obviously you don't let Nguemo come in off the right on his left. Calafiori did that. That's his first mistake. But then he's thinking, Raya's thinking, I'm going to go far post. So Raya's setting himself to go to his right, and then he cuts it near post, and the Spanish goalkeeper cannot adjust his feet, and therefore Brentford take the lead.
Wonderful.
Calafiori as well. He backed off and he backed off. At some stage you've got to engage, but what he did really well, he used the defenders in front of the goalkeeper really well. It was like a screen, and struck it back through them, and Raya was unsighted. It was struck beautifully. Terrific goal.
11th Premier League goal of the season for Brian Mbeumo. It's his best Premier League season now by 2 goals. And between him and Johan Wissa, they've scored 20 of Brentford's 33 Premier League goals. As it's hacked away up in the air with plenty of air from Flecken, and Mbeumo and Calafiori challenging. Calafiori won the header. Norgard, little push maybe by Saliba on Wissa, but Mikel Damsgaard's won it back. He hooks it up the touchline, doesn't go out of play despite Mikel Arteta's protestations, and then Gabriel turns it back to David Raya.
Moments, that has to be the game for Brentford, to break the rhythm and the possession of this Arsenal side, the skirmishes, sort of the ugly parts of the game, to knock the ball off the pitch, especially now Brentford have got the goal. Get to the ball first, draw a free kick, and then play on the counter-attack.
To Röslev down the right. Mads Röslev just stays on his feet, slides it to Christian Norgard. They won the ball high up the park. Here's Wissa, it's caught by Calafiori. Well, the Brentford fans thought so. The referee Peter Banks didn't, and here comes Jurien Timber. Bit of space for him to gallop into down the right hand side. 15 minutes play. This is a proper thumping
it's been great.
London derby. 1-0 Brentford lead.
It's been great. As Bradley said, the pace, the action's been superb so far.
Well, they didn't score against Nottingham Forest, and that was the first time they've failed to score at home this season, Brentford, so you would have backed them to be amongst this, and it's now a test for Arsenal. But we know that Brentford, like last season, have ceded points from leading positions. 14 this time round, 30 last season. Here's Jesus down the left-hand side, and the response from Arsenal is going to be interesting, Bradley.
It certainly will. I don't think they'll change at this moment in time, and certainly not personnel, but it's just whether, in such a crowded area they can find the quality and manoeuvre the ball into, those really dangerous positions and actually get a shot and an effort at Flecken and the goal.
Jesus down the left-hand side, great skill, gallops away from Norgard, thought about striking it right-footed, pulls it back, it's whipped into that penalty area. Again, Collins heads it away, Calafiori beaten to it by Damsgaard, and now it'll be Janelt sliding it towards Wissa, turns forward, runs out of traffic, runs into Thomas Partey, who just jabs out a left boot and retains possession for the Gunners, the 31-year-old.
Pity, he initially did well. He could have threaded Mbeumo, who took off.
Here's Odegaard.
Arsenal again down the left.
Sprays it to Martinelli down near the byline, left-hand side onto his right boot. Thinks about the back heel to Calafiori, goes for goal instead. Blocked by Röslev, ricochets up into the air. 1-0 Brentford lead. 17 minutes almost played, and they've won it back. And here goes Keane Lewis Potter. He gets clattered into, and the referee is going to produce a yellow card for Jurien Timber.
Well, it's aggressive. He'll be hoping, if this is VAR checks, that he got a tad on the football. Well, he come in strongly there, didn't he, Timber?
It's nasty, isn't it?
Well, ankle. He lunged a little bit. He's off the floor. Don't want players red carded, but I've seen them given.
You don't, but it didn't get the ball. He got the big toe of Keane Lewis Potter, I would say.
A little bit higher, perhaps, Bradley. If he catches him on the ankle or the bottom of the shin, he's off. I think the fact that he caught him on the toe, possibly orange
card. The foot was planting into the ground, I think.
Well done though, Brentford. Yarmo getting stuck in there. Keane Lewis Potter playing this wing-back role again, who's a striker by trade. He's worked really hard this season to stay in the side and basically solve the problem that Brentford have had at left-back.
Norgard turns away from Mikel Merino, and Merino, the 28-year-old, 19th appearance for Arsenal, tracks back towards the halfway line as it goes back to Mark Flecken. They are conceding on average more than 1 goal a game at home as well, Brentford. So Arsenal fans will look at that and go, look, this is one of the homes of entertainment, a bit like the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But Brentford have broken out again with Keane Lewis Potter. Seems none the worse the wear for that challenge. They've won it back after it was temporarily lost. Arsenal, though, are pressing very hard, Bradley, and it goes all the way back to Fleck.
Well, they got to, because not only have they got to try and tie this game up and get on the scoreboard, Phil, they've got to win this game tonight. They need 3 Premier League points and hunt down Liverpool.
Liverpool 9 points clear. Of course, Arsenal looking to reclaim second spot and be the key challengers. Nottingham Forest have been the surprise package so far this season, haven't they?
Did an absolute job on Brentford down here. You know, what was it? A 35% possession. Hit Brentford on the break twice. Both wing backs scoring the goals. Interestingly, it was the perfect away performance from Forest.
Is Nuno Espirito Santo the new Brian Clough?
Yeah.
Brian is clattered by Gabriel. Brian Mbeumo spins the ball away from the Brazilian.
Nice parting pattern now. Brentford right hand side as they try to build up back through. Little round the corner from Mbeumo. I think Flecken is doing the right thing. This is what I was saying about just sort of slowing the tempo of the game down sometimes, Phil, on a restart. Whether it's a throw in, whether it's a set play, there's no rush, especially if they've got their lead nearly 20 minutes into this one.
Mikel Arteta having a word with his coaching staff, one of whom has a screen in front of them, and it's quite interesting that the member of the coaching staff saying, yeah, that's definitely a free kick, but you know, this and what this is happening, the amount of analysis and information that is pouring into the managers and head coaches' ears any one time, not just through their own eyes, is extraordinary. Goes long from Flecken from the free kick, headed down into the penalty area by Christian Norgard, and Sepp van den Bergen out of play for a goal kick to David Raya, who again represented this club with great distinction. The Barcelona-born 29-year-old David Raya, 67th start now for Arsenal, of course. Promoted with Blackburn Rovers into the Championship and promoted with Brentford into the Premier League. Bradley, full Spanish international now, and his clearance though is met by Sepp van den Bergen. Janelt towards Norgard, who again just sort of diverts it, looking for Johan Wissa. It was beyond the Brentford striker, and it sails all the way through to goalkeeper David Raya. Saliba sliding it to Raya, who has conceded his 17th goal this season. Arsenal headed here as the meanest defence. They'd only conceded 16 goals in total. Brentford have conceded 16 goals at home coming into this game. Just shows you the magnitude of that defensive effort from Arsenal, Bradley. You talk about it, you know, 1-0 against the Ipswich.
And I think back to Raya, he's certainly the first choice. You know, he's had the challenge, and he did, of Ramsdale, who's since departed and gone to Southampton. Yeah. I think he's one of these modern day goalkeepers now where, you know, he can distribute and play with his feet and play out from the back, but he takes crosses, he shot saves, although he couldn't for Mbeumo's effort tonight. But he is you know, really helped this Arsenal team.
Oh, Saliba almost caught in possession, did brilliantly to extricate himself from the pressure that was flying at him, and now it's Nwaneri down the right hand side, headed away from him, and Janelt jabs it further forward onto the thigh of Yarmolenko, and the Ukrainian player, the midfielder, rolls it back to his skipper Christian Norgard, and Norgard just slows the ball down. Unbeaten in 6 on New Year's Day are Brentford, 4 wins and 2 draws on the first day of the year, as it slipped forward towards Damsgaard very centrally. He played it behind Johan Wissa, thinking that Wissa was going to check his run, I think, did Mikael Damsgaard, but Brentford will win it back, will they? Yes, they will, with Nathan Collins. Dear oh dear, that's an unceremonious shove on Gabriel Jesus, but they need to calm down, I think, the home team. They're just getting a little ahead of themselves as Keane Lewis Potter intercepts a forward ball on the chest, and Christian Norgard slows it down.
That's 2 potential breakaways that Lewis Potter has broken up on his own. You know, he's only little. He's a winger stroke number 10 by trade, playing that left back in a 4, by the way, against this incredibly skillful Arsenal side. He's done brilliantly so far, Keane Lewis Potter.
Yeah, he started the game well. He's a player that I see for Hull, and I know was on the radar of a number of clubs, but that was, you know, in a number 10, a wing position. But he can handle the ball, and I often say good footballers, they can play anywhere on the pitch, and he's certainly doing that now in a Brentford shirt.
Right-footed, playing left back as well.
70th appearance of Brentford for Keane Lewis Potter. Mikel Arteta a little bit agitated on the sidelines at the moment, as it goes along to Nathan Collins.
Mind you, so is Klaus Norgard and Thomas Frank in the Brentford technical area as well. They're also very animated against Brighton, and very animated again today, but they're pleased with what they're seeing with this breakout.
Norgard's able to spin, turn and race towards the halfway line, and he's encouraged to slide it square to Yarmoliuk, who's got Keane Lewis Potter down the left, poked it out wide towards the former Hull man, steps onto his right boot, whips it across towards Norgard, who scored in that first ever Premier League game of Brentford's history against Arsenal. He was on the end of that header, and they've won it back through Sepp van den Berg, and here is Johan Wissa. Wissa drops it out wide towards Rasif. It's too heavily hit. That was the pass, it was the right idea, but he put too much on it. It's gone out of play for the goal kick, Bradley Allen.
Well, you'd have to say not only the goal and the lead that Brentford have got, but actually as an attacking force, I think there's a greater confidence in terms of the opportunity that are now starting to come, and Brentford are really believing. But because we know the strength of this opponent, they've probably got to get a second on the score sheet here before half time if they can, and Thomas Frank and his coaching staff will absolutely know that, because Brentford have played excellent so far.
Raya is going long quite a lot, isn't he, Phil? There's another one that's sort of like wasted, that's been broken up by Yarmoliuk and in this case Sepp van den Berg on that Brentford left. So they're not pressing Raya, they're encouraging him to go long, Brentford, and they've swallowed up 2 or 3 now, 4 I think, attacks from long balls from Raya.
On the bench for Arsenal, Neto, perfect name for a goalkeeper, Kieran Tierney, Jakub Kivior, Alexander Zinchenko, Leandro Trossard, Jorginho, Declan Rice, Ismail Kabia and Miles Lewis Skelly. The bench for Brentford, by the way, Hakan Valdemarson, who made his Premier League debut at Brighton, coming off the bench as it's been given away to Yarmoliuk, who slips it into Yana, round the corner to Wissa. He'll just knock it square to Yarmoliuk again, who loses possession though, and again he just got a little bit too much of excitement there, I think, Yarmoliuk, and that's brilliant from Arsenal down the right hand side as it's leave it infield towards Odegaard, looking for the overlapping run for Jurrien Timber, set off by Wanyeri, and a yellow card for Christian Norgard for catching his opposite skipper Martin Odegaard in midfield, and a free kick to Arsenal.
Took one for the team. It was a shame, because I think they've been a bit unsettled the last few minutes, Arsenal. They've sort of been a bit half-hearted in the early press when they went after Brentford and when Brentford have played out. And actually Brentford have dropped Norgard down or Janelt down and had a 3, and they've played through midfield quite easily and then sort of broke on the Arsenal defence with some success. On that occasion, Calafiori gave the ball away. Brentford missed the chance, and then on transition Arsenal sped across the halfway line, and that resulted in the cynical challenge from Norgard, his yellow card, Arsenal free kick.
Mikel Merino has just come over to the sidelines, got some instructions from his manager, Mikel Arteta. Has the Pamplona-born midfielder, and he's had a word with Thomas Partey, and now Arsenal just discussing how they're going to take and what they're going to do with this free kick. Martin Odegaard will take it, born in Drammen, the 26-year-old Norwegian international. His dad played professional football as well. He's going to whip it left-footed in towards the edge of the Brentford penalty area. Partey's there! Smothered away from him. Still not totally clear, and then a shot which is blocked out of play for a corner kick.
Now
the flag's gone up anyway, and it wouldn't have counted.
Yeah, it's a brilliant training ground move, isn't it? Lovely ball flighted in from Odegaard. I think Arsenal, who had 5 players up in attack there, maybe had a man just beyond the back line centrally. That's why the flag was raised. Partey on the swivel, might have made better connection. It come back to Nwari. His shot was blocked eventually, but the flag was out.
Yeah, it was the backside of Keane Lewis Potter that made the block, but it wouldn't have counted. Partey from the free kick was offside, but he was the man that receives the instructions from Mikel Merino, so that must have been, we want this set piece, that's what's doing, you do this, you do that.
He took it under his control really well, and then it was a bit of an air kick, but I think he was well offside in the current context.
Flips it on, Keane Lewis Potter gets on the end of it down the left hand side, cuts in field, still with it, goes for goal, it's smuggled by the goalkeeper, and he just manages to get it clear, recycled by Brian Mpumu, and then hacked away by Thomas Partey, but a really poor attempt at saving from David Raya almost led to another goal. But at the other end now come Arsenal. Espanieri pokes it out wide towards Gabriel Jesus down that right hand side. Could have been 2-0. Arsenal now try and make it 1-1 with Odegaard.
Goodness me, what a moment to have scored that would have been.
Partey still with it. He's going to slip it towards the right. David Raya is breathing a huge sigh of relief because his attempted save almost ended up in the back of the net and he just managed to claw it away. Now it's Gabriel at the other end, slipping it in. That's clever for Gabriel Martinelli, and then Brentford have just about cleared it. Still not yet the danger away. It will be through Wissa. They're almost overplaying on the edge of their own penalty area. It's Partey with a shot, saved by Flecken and headed in by Gabriel Jesus, and the equaliser's come. And whereas Brentford should have just hacked it away, they kept on giving Arsenal chances, and Gabriel Jesus, who's been in a rich train of form during this festive season, has brought parity. It's Arsenal and Brentford, one apiece on BBC Radio London.
Well, Phil, I was just going to say, this game's a flip of the coin, and you sort of absolutely understand and give Brentford encouragement for attacking Arsenal because they look so vulnerable, and there was a second goal there, but actually in that moment could have Brentford defended deeper. Well, they did defend deeper. They played too many short passes edge of the box. They didn't, and failed to clear convincingly. And from Partey's shot, credit to Jesus for following in. I think it might be checked here. The referee is just being consulted with VAR.
I think they're going to check it for offside.
Brentford were unhappy about something that happened in the build-up as well. But that was the point. That
it's
sort
not offside, Phil, on the rebound.
That kind of coming together on the edge of the box is what Brentford were unhappy about. That's where the arms of protest went up. It's a shame. It was a great save
of a man in form who's sort of come back from the cold, really, hasn't he?
Shame, because it was a great save from Flecken from the initial.
Struck it well, Partey.
Well, the goal hasn't been awarded yet, to my knowledge, so
I think they're going to check that coming together on the edge of the box.
That's why it's having a word with the fourth official as to what may be going on. They're checking for a possible handball. The check is over,
complete,
and it is a goal, Bradley Allen. So
that was what Brentford were unhappy about.
It'd be relieved, Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
The game could have gone. It could have been beyond them, 2-0, and with the crowd up and these Brentford players having a fantastic first half hour, but this could change the whole dynamic now that Arsenal are back on level terms. They look hungry, they're pressing the ball, they're going for it.
But Brentford
goes back to Flecken. Sorry, Billy.
Well, I was going to say, really, after all of that, as you said, Phil, Brentford really should have cleared their lines. They had 2 or 3 opportunities to do so, trying to play it out, trying to play to feet, trying to do the right thing, but Arsenal just swarmed around them, and it was very well taken in the end.
Sometimes you've just got to get rid, Bradley.
Yeah.
And the strikers as well, you know, they're helping out their team, but they're almost too deep, aren't they?
Yeah.
They need, sometimes on a clearance, you need a sort of a release pass, don't you, and have some targets to hit. And Wissa and Mpumu, admirable the work that they're doing without the ball to get back in, but it's almost too many players behind the ball sometimes.
31 minutes played, one apiece, Arsenal and Brentford here at the GTEC Community Stadium on BBC Radio London on the first day of the year. Slipped out wide towards Martinelli. He just levers it back in field to Calafiori, and it's Mikel Merino who finds Gabriel to Partey. Square ball. Saliba dinks it towards a downward header from Mikel Merino. Again, Brentford clip it away, and again they're playing with it on the edge of their own penalty area and giving possession to Arsenal. And then Wissa spots David Raya out from his own goal, and he goes from deep inside his own half, looking to get a goal. It's out of play. Josh Windass scored from his own half earlier today.
Must be wind assisted.
Yeah.
Is that at Hillsborough?
Or Windass assisted.
Yeah, Windass assisted. Worth a go, I think.
Sounds a bit rude, actually. That sounds like a carry-on joke.
Worth a go from Wiss, though, I think, because he did manage to get the distance on it. It was well wide.
Yeah, and Raya was getting back, I think. He probably would have made the block, but Brentford win it with Yarmoliuk, and it bagatelles around between him and Christian Norgard, and it's Jurien Timber, who, as you said, Bradley, had a dreadful, arrived and suddenly gets an injury right at the beginning of his Arsenal career. Mikel Merino likewise, but he wasn't out as long. And here is Nwaneri to Merino. Nwaneri wide of him on the right hand side, on the point of the Brentford penalty area. Odegaard with it. Nwaneri's making a run inside that penalty area, flicked over the top. Mark Flecken watches it bounce out of play for a goal kick. 32 and a half minutes played. Brentford 1, Arsenal 1. And then we're seeing how close it got, Bradley, to David Raya almost letting one spill through his hands.
A poor error, wasn't it, from Raya, but credit to the way that he got himself back up, flung backwards, spring athleticism, and clawed the ball away to safety.
Yeah, he had to, because that would have been a bit embarrassing. It was hit straight at him and he flapped at it, went through his flap, and he had to then go and claw it away from going over the goal line for a second Brentford goal. And at that point it would have been 2-0.
And straight up the other end it's 1-1.
Here is Nathan Collins, guides a header down into midfield. Odegaard gives it a thump into the air. Collins will get there again, bobbles it this time to Mikkel Damsgaard, spread out wide to Roersleff on the right. He looks for Brian Mbumu. Him and Calafiori battling for the ball. Calafiori hacks it away down the touchline, out of play for a Brentford throw just inside their own half of the pitch. Declan Rice is getting ready for a bit of warming up on the sidelines as the England man.
Yeah, you'd expect him to offer that centre field power and athleticism. The England midfielder in the second half, a bit of a power play for Arteta to sort of turn and use midway into that second half and rotate his squad.
Here is Odegaard twisting and turning and getting away from Jan Molliak and finding Gabriel Jesus, and then it's spun in field for Mikel Merino to slide square towards the edge of the centre circle, and Jurien Timber, who is able to carry it to within 25 yards of the Brentford goal, finds Ethan Nwaneri, the teenager, on the point of the penalty area, defended by Brentford on the right hand side of the Arsenal attack. Martin Odegaard takes over. Brentford back in a deep defensive set. Odegaard spins, twists, finds an opportunity to flick it back out wide to that right hand touchline. Here comes a long deep cross which Arsenal have been able to recycle. Partey has it, strikes a shot goalwards, went through a clutch of legs, and Roersleff is able to just roll it away to Brian Mbumu, who does well to actually retain possession and then chase after the forward prod by Mikkel Damsgaard. Arsenal recycle down the left hand side for Calafiori, whips in across. The offside flag's going up against the Italian. It'll be a free kick to Brentford, and the left back for Arsenal, with his long flowing locks, jogs back to his defensive position, and it's still 10 minutes to go before the break, 1 apiece.
Great football from Arsenal to set that attack up. Odegaard, sharp passing, switching it through 5 or 6 players out to that right hand side. Extra man coming in from full back. It's tremendous football to watch. Brentford defended well. I thought Roersleff was calm in the box, nearly got it away. Good football from them as well.
Evenly balanced half so far, and that's come off Gabriel's head, and Wissa will watch it bounce out of play for a corner kick. Now Arsenal have a propensity to score from corners, but
come on, the set play coach.
Well, here we go. Keith Andrews out to the edge of his technical area. The set piece coaches will exchange looks at each other. Who's going to come out on top in this one?
Yeah, don't waste the opportunity. Arsenal are good offensively. Can you challenge them defensively? And Mbeumo to take the corner. Really important delivery in these conditions tonight.
In swinger from the left foot of Brian Mbumu, whose goal gave the lead to Arsenal earlier in the to Brentford earlier in the game. It's across the face of goal as far as Roersleff, who just basically booms it back into the 18-yard box, and that goes out of play for a goal kick.
He's done all right so far, Roersleff, but that was poor decision making, really. He's the last man back. He's got a little bit of time. He's looking for Mbeumo, who's a mile offside anyway. Knit.
Arsenal finding Calafiori. It's blocked by Mikkel Damsgaard, and goes back to Gabriel, who's deep inside his own 18-yard box, swings it square across the face of goal to William Saliba. They're comfortable doing that though, Arsenal. They know exactly what they're doing with their play out, and they find Thomas Partey.
Awesome. How about that?
Over the halfway line, Partey's able to run on the angle, finds Calafiori. Wide of him is Gabriel Jesus, who's headed in the equaliser for Arsenal in this game. He cuts in field on his right boot, whips in across. Nathan Collins heads it away, picked up by Mikel Merino again. He sweeps it to the left hand side of the penalty area. Here's Calafiori's cross, palmed away by the goalkeeper. It's cross come shot. Arsenal recycle. Gabriel Jesus can't get the shot away this time and has to go back to Gabriel. 1-1. Calafiori halfway between the edge of the penalty area and the left-hand wing, and it's again thumped away this time by Vitaliano towards the halfway line. No one there to chase it, but at least he's relieved the pressure for a moment or two, Bradley. But Arsenal coming back.
Yeah, I would even say Brentford has somehow got to navigate their way through the next 8 or 9 minutes and get in at half-time on level terms.
Cross towards the back post, it's watched out of play. Defended this pretty well, had players around the ball, but Arsenal have dominated with shots and touches inside the opposition penalty area, but both goalkeepers have only had to make one save each, and David Raya's save almost ended up in the back of his own net.
Well, a double save, I guess.
I think
it's a double
of
save.
The two coaches, Mikel Arteta will be probably a bit more content unfolded inside that technical area. The way and now his side are back on level terms, and the grip and the control that they have on this one. We'll be hoping they can push and get one final chance before half-time and get in front in this. And then I would expect them to go on and win the game. I think Brentford just need to regroup. Some messages from the manager, the coaching staff, and conserve the energy and ready to go again.
Had some good moments, Brentford, though, Bradley.
Yeah, they've been good.
Mads Roslev just had to tie his bootlace up. Mark Flecken with a long ball, headed away by Calafiori. Back it comes from Roslev to this right-hand side. Again, the Italian defender who's going to get there first. Roslev is ahead of Gabriel Martinelli and manages to poke it back to Flecken, and the Dutch stopper delivers out wide towards the left-hand side, and Lewis Potter gambled, and Arsenal come away with it with Wanyeri. Tamba won the ball. Wanyeri's cross, up in the air it goes from Sepp van den Berg, headed back into the edge of the 6-yard box, defended by the Bees. The Gunners, though, aren't able to get a clean shot away, and Brian Mbeumo just tickles it up the touchline and gets it back, and then gets caught by Mikel Merino.
Good defending.
Him and Damsgaard just working these little back heel to each other, and Merino just caught Brian Mbeumo, who's trying to get away from him. 1-1.
He was away,
I just think there, Phil, when Mbeumo and Damsgaard are doing terrific combination work, and the wavelength between the two of them, Visser is too far away on the other side. Off of the set, they might actually need a forward pass, because Arsenal defensively are quite high up the pitch on that halfway line. He's like 60 yards away. He needs to be over more central and making a run on this respective side.
Flecken on the edge of his 6-yard box, swats it towards the left, finds Sepp van den Berg. Here's Jan Moliuk. He's forced back towards Keane Lewis Potter, who then has to dig it out and lift it towards Damsgaard. He bisected the midfield. Here's Mikel Damsgaard again. Thought about the early run from Wisser. Instead finds Norgard, who evades one challenge. Pokes it out wide to Jan Moliuk. Left-hand side for Brentford. Level with the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Still with it. Delivers right-footed. Headed away. Comfortable one, really, from William Saliba. Straight down the throat, though, of Nathan Collins. He finds the German Vitaliano to Brian Mbeumo. Down that right-hand side. Into Mads Roslev. Digs out a cross. It's blocked away by Arsenal, and it squirts out of play for a corner kick to the Bees.
Again, good quality, terrific little ball flighted over the Arsenal defence down that right hand side to set the attack in motion from Lewis Potter. Yarmolek building on the left, work to the right, good combination, forcing another set play here. Let's hope that Mbeumo can miss the first man.
Collins and Sepp van den Berg, Christian Norgard, they've got height. Norgard's drifted towards an area beyond the back post. It'll be Brian Mbeumo to take it. Second corner for him over on this right hand side. Sepp van den Berg with an attempted flick header near post. Jan Moliuk heads it back towards the halfway line, and Mikel Damsgaard has to mop up and sweep it all the way to his goalkeeper. Here's Flecken along the ground to Lewis Potter on the left. Ripple of applause from the spot from him. That's Flecken as Arsenal again press through Odegaard to Collins. Collins looks to the right and finds Mikel Damsgaard. And Mbeumo hugging the right touchline at the moment, and here's Collins, patient from Brentford at this moment in time. Don't want to turn over possession in a dangerous position. And it goes back to Sepp van den Berg again. The former Liverpool player had a loan spell at Preston North End and Schalke and Mainz before moving to Brentford in the summer for in the region of 15 to 20 million pounds, as it's going to be curled out towards Roslev on this right hand side. Lets it bounce down, grabs Merino around the throat, and the Italian didn't quite like that, but he's put it out of play for a throw in to Brent. Actually, not Marino, Calafiori. He didn't make much of a fuss, but this guy had him in like a chokehold.
Yeah, without naming names, if that had been another Arsenal player,
would have been on the back, would have been on the deck. So he's a tough, rugged Italian defender. But also, what tough, rugged Italian defenders tend to do is never forget, Bradley. So, Mads Røslev, beware. Might be coming back your way. Here is Calafiori. He's going to cushion it forward towards the edge of the Brentford penalty area, and Gabriel Jesus, but he just miscontrols the ball and then claims he got palmed off by Mikael Damsgaard. The referee now stops play because Gabriel Jesus is down holding his top lip or something.
That's got to stop. If he's feigning a head injury, then that has absolutely got to stop, because we've seen that recently in the game.
Might have scratched his moustache there, Phil.
Maybe. Taking a couple of flecks of hair off his top lip. Well,
caught him accidentally, but it was an arm.
Yeah.
These things always look worse in slow-mo, don't they?
Or a sort of widow's peak hairstyle now as Mikael Damsgaard.
Mikael Damsgaard, when he had his hair cut in the summer, a friend of yours, actually, Matt Fuller, said he's going to be absolutely tremendous. He's going to win the Ballon d'Or as a result of that. And he has been absolutely brilliant. Accidental, Brad?
Yes, just a flailing arm, nothing more than that. But again, the knowledge of our officials and referees to these dark arts. Why do you think that he's gone down there, Bill?
Yeah, exactly, because Damsgaard's away.
Who's in motion?
Yeah, Damsgaard's away.
They're on the counter-attack and they're breaking. I suspect he might be absolutely fine.
Well, he seems to be all right. Nathan Collins is having a giggle at his expense. He's going to have to come to the sidelines.
You just got to laugh it off. You know, Brentford.
That's it.
Brentford have got annoyed and aggravated by this in the past, because Brentford don't do it.
I suppose you let the fans do the business. You let the fans get annoyed and aggravated and get on his back and try and put him off, don't you? I suppose.
Yeah, but Nathan Collins' reaction was brilliant. Brilliant.
He giggled, didn't he?
Yeah,
that's what you got to do.
He had a right old laugh.
He can't be booking Damsgaard for that.
No. But it's a non-competitive drop ball.
Well, yeah, not allowed competitive ones anymore. Someone might get hurt.
Here comes the board. Here comes Jones the board.
Jones the board. It's actually Bramall the board today. Thomas Bramall is the.
They don't bring them. It's the club that he hasn't even got to bother to bring it. The club supply them. Shocking.
I'd love them to have their own boards. Maybe decorate them like you used to do with your school bags.
Personalise it.
Exactly. He's got his stickers of his favourite bands on there. Is that a foul on Brian Mbumo? No, says the referee. 4 additional minutes, was that?
4 additional minutes. It's got the Brentford fans animated as well, because they've been holding their breath sometimes while Arsenal have been playing it around the 18.
Jesus wants to come back on. Referee's not letting him on. Now he does.
Watch out.
And he tries to dispossess Mikael Damsgaard, but he manages to squirt it away. Jarmoliak to Jana. It's going to toe end it out wide to the left-hand side, and Keane Lewis Potter cuts in field away from Jurrien Timber, and then it took a deflection as he swept it through, and then Norgaard's nutmegged, and Arsenal now on the spring can try and break forward, and Marino pokes it towards Calafiori, who jabs it towards Gabriel Jesus on the halfway line.
It's still Panto season, folks.
I was at the Richmond Panto yesterday, and
Happy New Year.
He's behind you. There's going to be a cry from that at some point, isn't there? Flash Harry is the baddie in the Panto at Richmond, I can tell you. Boo!
Anyway, about 3 minutes to go in this football match, first half.
I have to say that they were doing one of those lineups, and Maureen Littman, filth. Right, here comes Calafiori down the left, not intentional, down the left-hand side for Gabriel Martinelli.
High quality calibre of star in the Richmond
absolutely. But she had a couple of what they call spoonerisms. Oh yes. Down the right-hand side come Arsenal. Looking to spoon it into the penalty area and create the opportunity for a second goal to go ahead before the break. We've played almost 2 minutes of the added for Bradley Allen, as here goes Martin Odegaard looking to jab it towards Timber. Spinning is Wanyeri, and Bumu's won it back, and then It will be Keane Lewis-Potter who carries it clear, needs an option, finds it through Brian Mbumu, sliding it up the touchline to Jan Moliek. So Keane Lewis-Potter and Mbumu almost worked well for Brentford, but Arsenal win it back with it through Marino. Here's Odegaard, thought about the shot, flicks it towards Calafiori. He steps onto his right boots, very central. Now it's a chance for Nwaneri now to maybe shear it forward to Gabriel Jesus, back into Nwaneri. Still not clear. Marino has it, back to Thomas Partey, sliding it towards the right. You know he's on the ball when the boos are ringing out. It's a downward header which Mikkel Damsgaard is able to hack away over the halfway line, and here comes David Raya as it bounces thrice towards him, and he tickles it towards that right hand side, and William Saliba, who's backtracked to bring it under possession for Arsenal.
From this triple press, triple run from him. They're hanging in there, aren't they, Brentford, here in these closing injury time minutes of this first half.
Martinelli makes the break in off the left hand side, poked back by Roersleff to Flecken, who just unceremoniously hacks it out of play for a throw in.
Roersleff has his critics. Obviously he wouldn't be playing in the side if everyone was fit. That's where he's at his best. He's strong, he's fast, he's an athlete, great balance, makes the challenge, nice and safe. Flecken gets it away, but here come Arsenal again, Philbo.
Well, they're going to be patient, aren't they, Arsenal, Bradley?
They're going to keep probing. You know, this was the scenario that they had for a good few minutes against Ipswich. They got a goal in the first half.
Nwaneri gets wide down the right hand side, whips it across, but Mark Flecken plucks it out of the air. He beat Lewis-Potter that time, Nwaneri, but Flecken was alert to the cross, and then he slams it forward, and Brian Mbumu just had to check his run. He was fearful of running offside, and then it bounced away from him, and David Raya picks up. Actually, it was good distribution from Mark Flecken. I think just needed to maybe just grip on the surface a bit more.
I think he was off though, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Brian?
I think he thought he was. Here is Calafiori. Marino tickles it back towards Odegaard, left-footed, whirls in a cross. It's blocked away only as far as Nwaneri, but the flag's gone up against him. And that will be the end of the first half here at the Brentford Community Stadium, sponsored by some firm that make gardening implements. It is a half-time whistle that's ended a very entertaining first period, Bradley. I think Nick and Matt Gray might be a little bit jealous of that first half after listening to their first half of Millwall against Oxford. Brentford taking the lead through Brian Mbumu, almost going 2-0 up after David Raya flapped at a shot somewhat, but managed to claw it away. Within a minute, Arsenal were back on level terms. They really did hem Brentford in, who didn't take the opportunity to clear their lines, and eventually a shot which was palmed away by Mark Flecken, met by the flying head of Gabriel Jesus, who tucked it beyond the Dutchman to bring parity. No further goals before the break though, although both sides have looked threatening. Half time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 1, Arsenal 1.
BBC Radio London,
the home of London football.
Yeah, do make sure you catch that in the morning. Aaron Paul live on BBC Radio London at 6 o'clock, starting on Monday. I will be there, and I hope you will be there joining us as well. We're going to be talking about all the London stories and, of course, all the London sport as well. That's the number one place to go. That'll be the number one place to go in the capital on the radio from 6 o'clock on Monday morning, starting on the 6th of January. It's very, very exciting, and we're all excited for you to join us. Well, we've got another 45 minutes of football to follow here on the home of London sport. It's half time at the moment. It's Brentford 1, Arsenal 1 in the Premier League, and I'm just having a look at the tunnel. Players are just getting ready to come out. We're going to hand you over to the commentary team. There's a little sprinkling of Billy Reeves alongside Bradley Allen, and they are with Phil Parry.
Thank you very much, Xavi. Yep, the teams are just starting to re-emerge. The referee will lead them out when he gets the opportunity. His two assistants burst out ahead of Brentford, who were led out by Christian Norgard, Mark Flecken, the goalkeeper. Then with the likes of Sepp van den Berg and Mads Roersleff, Nathan Collins. No changes made at the break, I don't think, by any of them. Keane Lewis-Potter, Mikkel Damsgaard, Jan Moliek, and Brian Mbumu, Johan Wieser, Vitali Janelt, all out there, still waiting for Arsenal to re-emerge. Mick Godwin would hate this. If they're supposed to start on time, Nick gets very fastidious, I think, about teams not being out ready for the start of the second half. He berated Millwall and Oxford today for their tardiness at half time.
I'd have to agree with Nick, actually, and I know Man City got heavily fined last season for lateness in terms of second half.
It's all about
return.
the telly, isn't it? It's telly that decide when you kick off.
It's all about. But if the referee says that's it, the bell's ringing, out you come, then out you come.
Billy? More advertising space, another minute or two.
Yeah. Another sponsor ad.
The most important person here is the person with the clipboard that decides when it kicks off after the advertising break.
You are sat either side of someone who watches a lot of American football. If you think ad breaks in soccer, as they call it, is too much, but I don't know. We really like it.
It's beautifully designed, isn't it? NFL for having those commercial breaks.
It's amazing. But in the stadium, they fill that time so brilliantly as well. So it's not as if you're sitting there waiting for it. They've got lots and lots going on.
That's why football's better. That's why association football is better, because there's nothing going on but the game, and it's only the game that can spoil a day at the football. I've always said.
Very good. Yeah. Great day out of the football, spoilt by the 90 minutes, Bradley. That's been said more than once, isn't it?
Well, the 49 minutes that we've had so far,
been great. Yeah,
really good.
We've actually been spoilt to a football fest, haven't we? It's been great.
No changes either from Arsenal. Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel and Calafiori. They're back four in midfield. Partey and Marino, Odegaard, Wanyeri, Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus as their front four. Go through the benches shortly, and then Brian Mbumu has caught Gabriel on the nose by the way he's holding his face at this moment in time, and again I'm not sure whether there was much intention to that, but the referee blows the whistle, and
it's just caught him round the neck, but he's holding his face.
He's
holding his ear.
Cuff around the ear. Wow, when it's cold you get cuffed around it, but they've literally just come out of the changing rooms. But you know, Bradley,
he's 6'4".
He is 6'4", yeah.
14 stone.
Yeah.
Of solid muscle and sinew. Come on, Phil.
Well, Johan Wissa started off playing rugby. I don't think Gabriel has played much rugby, if that's how he goes down. I mean, look at the state of forwards' ears. Anyway, here at Arsenal down the left-hand side, looking to go ahead for the first time this evening, as it's blocked by Mikael Marino and out of play. On the bench for Brentford, Hakan Vadamarsen, Kevin Schade, Matti Jensen, Jaden Mahoma, Yunus Konak, Paris Magoma, Kim Ji-soo, who made his Premier League debut at Brighton, Tony Again and Benjamin Arthur. Neto on the bench for Arsenal, on loan from Bournemouth, of course, Keenan Tierney, Jakub Kiwior, Alexander Zinchenko, Leandro Trossard, Jorginho, Declan Rice, Ismail Kabia and Miles Lewis Skelly. So not a huge amount of attacking options for Arsenal on the bench, really, Bradley.
No.
Trossard obviously is an out-and-out attacker. We know obviously what Declan Rice will do, but the likes of Jorginho, midfield, Zinchenko, Kiwior, Tierney.
Quite a lot.
There's two left-backs on the bench.
Left-footed defenders, isn't there?
If they've got a surfeit of left-backs, can we borrow one, please?
Goes back to Keane Lewis, which would allow Keane Lewis to play further up the pitch, wouldn't it? Which might be more to his liking, as Brentford have won it on the halfway line, but spooned over towards this near touchline, headed onto the thigh of Gabriel Jesus, and Wanyeri manages to splatter it away from Mbumu, and Wissa, and Arsenal set in motion with Gabriel over the halfway line, left-hand side of the centre circle, strides forward, angles it into the path of Calafiori and then gets it back. Here's Thomas Partey again. Not an empty seat inside this stadium for this one. Under the floodlights, West London, first Premier League game of the year here at Arsenal. Down the left-hand touchline, winning a corner kick over on that far flank.
Yeah, this is trouble. Damsgaard couldn't really get out of the way of the left-footed cross struck by Martinelli. He will take the corner.
Yeah, right in front of the Arsenal fans.
Place and manoeuvre their players. So try and get the touch on this set play.
Gabriel Martinelli, the 23-year-old, steps back. He's going to curl it right footed. 198 appearances now for Arsenal, 141 starts. Arm goes up, right arm, plenty of movement, lots of movement into the 6-yard box, crowding that 6-yard box, headed away by Nathan Collins. It's going to be another corner kick over on this right hand side.
I'm not sure why Visser at the back post ushered the ball out for a follow-up corner. He must have been aware that Collins did well under pressure at the near post to get the first contact, sort of looped and spun up. He should have just fly hacked it clear, but Young Anwari to take here from this right-hand side.
Former Premier League striker and now Premier League coach Bradley Allen with us on BBC Radio London as this corner kick from Wanyeri, Enfield born, on the right-hand side, left-footed in-swinger. Arsenal, it's a really interesting setup for this set piece, the way they've sort of formed almost a quarter circle around where the Brentford defenders are in 6-yard box, now breaking into that 6-yard box, patted down by Flecken, not yet cleared, hacked goalwards and turned into the back of the net by Mikel Merino, and Arsenal's set piece comes to the fore again. 26% of their goals been scored from it already this season. There's another one, causing chaos, and eventually the Spaniard lashes home from 6 yards out. It's Brentford 1, Arsenal 2.
Well, there it is. It's an NFL quarterback manoeuvre, isn't it, to a wide receiver. It goes in, they block the goalkeeper, they win the second ball, and they just turn in the rebound. It's ugly, but Phil, it's damn effective, and it's going to take them close to winning the Premier League this season.
Can I also remind everybody that Arsenal's set-piece coach was once Brentford's set-piece coach?
Yeah.
All sorts going on in there, aren't there?
Yeah. Well, they patted it down, Mark Flecken. He palmed it away, blocked one shot. Yeah.
Should have caught that one, really. He'll be disappointed. Arsenal pounce, big goal.
Yeah, well, it's working really effectively. The way that they are working on the set pieces for Arsenal is so effective, and they lead for the first time this evening after 50 and a half minutes. It's Brentford 1, Arsenal 2.
And you do wonder, Phil, whether or not that second corner should have been conceded, whether or not Whistle was just paying the percentages because the evil spin on the ball and thought, I'm not going to try and get my head or my foot on this, otherwise I'm going to put it back into the box. It looked harmless, it had come off Collins clearly, and Whistle just left it, stuck both palms up in the air as if to say, I've got to let this go out. Cheap corner, really.
Now they've turned over cheap possession, Brentford, and it's Wanyeri down the right-hand side, darts beyond Keane Lewis-Potter, who just shoulders him off the ball, having given it away originally, Keane Lewis-Potter, but he's now giving it away again. Odegaard flicks it into the penalty area, Merino with it, tries to tee himself up, and then Damsgaard drives it to Yarmoliuk, and then Boomer is just muscled off the ball by William Saliba, and at the moment Brentford's attempt to try and play out are not very effective, Bradley.
Yeah, it's given Arsenal exactly the jolt, the foot up that they needed at the beginning of this second half.
Odegaard sliding it from the point of the penalty area on the right hand side of Urin Timber. Back it comes to Martin Odegaard again. He just jabs his boot at it. Still only 26. He only turned 26 a couple of weeks ago. Did Martin Odegaard on the 17th of December. It's going to be curled out wide towards the left-hand side, and Merino gets it back this time from Gabriel as Odegaard has it again, buzzing around on the edge of the penalty area. Back heel up in the air, cushion headed down from Martinelli. Gabriel Jesus can't get on it. Nathan Collins is able to squirt it away up the touchline, and Bumu tries to challenge. Arsenal, though, press and win it high up the park. And they're looking to go for the jugular, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They've got to be very, very careful here, Brentford, because if this goes to 3-1, it will be game, set and match.
Wanyeri dancing down the right-hand side again, swirls in across. Nathan Collins heads it away. Gabriel Martinelli makes it 3. Driving it home on the angle from the left-hand side of the penalty area. Wanyeri with the cross, cushioned down to Martinelli, who celebrates with the Arsenal fans. And this game is drifting back towards North London. It's Brentford 1, Arsenal 3.
Yeah, thumping volley. The Brentford players are asking that when the ball was flighted in from the right-hand side, was there a little nudge, was there a push in the attack? But when it dropped, Martinelli steadied himself outside the right foot, top right-hand corner, super finish from him, 1-3 scoreline. It's going to be checked, but I think the goal will be allowed, and I think that's going to be 3 Premier League points.
There was a little shove on a Brentford defender, I think from Calafiori. Nathan Collins is pushed by Mikel Merino actually.
Yeah,
as the cross comes in, and he's the man who gets on the header to guide it away into Martinelli's path, and then he volleys it beyond Mark Flecken. But are they going to check it? Well, I don't think they are. The Brentford fans feel that it should be checked. Now it is going to be checked. Well, Mikel Arteta has his arms folded on the sidelines, and the goal counts. The goal will count, and Arsenal lead by 3 goals to 1, and a devastating opening 8 minutes to this second half from the Gunners.
Perfect start to the beginning of this second half, and I thought sort of have to go back to that moment where Lewis Potter struck and David Raya palmed the ball behind him and it nearly bounced over the line. They're going again here, Arsenal, with the speed of Martinelli down the left.
Martinelli taking on Sepp van den Berg, and he's inside the Brentford penalty area towards the byline, whips in across, it's plucked out of the air by Mark Flecken. They need to settle themselves down, Brentford, and just try and work out where they're going to go, because it's a bit like they say, how do you eat an elephant? Well, it's one bite at a time. The first bite is to get a foothold in this second half, then maybe they get a goal back. But at the moment it's Arsenal who are dominant. With 54.5 minutes played, they lead 3-1. King Lewis Potter saying that Ethan Nwaneri wasn't letting him play the free kick as quickly as he'd like, but referee's having none of that. So it goes back to Mark Flecken from Sepp van den Berg, who pokes it into midfield. Christian Norgard, surrounded by Arsenal players who are, they can press high now, Bradley. They really can, because they lead 3-1.
It's the perfect scenario really for the Arsenal coach. He can take players off and rest a few, because they've got another very tough, very important away fixture at Brighton at the weekend. This would be some comeback if Brentford are to get something here, but they've got a chance down the left.
They've got an overload down the left, and it's Wisser taken away from him by Keane Lewis Potter, who's dancing just outside the Arsenal penalty area. Looks to Wisser, hacked away though by the Arsenal back line. Sepp van den Berg comes away with it though, and they've played it in. Oh dear, he's given it straight to Gabriel Jesus, who's able to stray over the halfway line, and that was a bit of a waste of possession from the former Liverpool man. Here is Calafiori. Arsenal leading by 3 goals to 1, having been 1-0 down in this game, and as it stands, the ticker, which counts up how many points have been lost from winning positions, ticks back up to 17, which I think pushes them level with Brighton again.
Brentford,
which is the equal highest in the division.
Was a big problem last season.
30 points last season dropped from winning positions, Bradley, and also the formers dropped off of late for Brentford as well. So here come Arsenal inside the penalty area. Calafiori battling for it, he goes to ground. It doesn't appeal for the penalty himself. The Arsenal fans on the far touchline do, and then Mikkel Damsgaard wins a throw-in on the far touchline. But just 1 win in the last 5 in the league for Brentford, 1 draw and 3 defeats heading into this game. And then Damsgaard has wriggled away from a couple of challenges. He's dragged back. Is that a yellow card? It is for Calafiori.
He wasn't convinced, the referees. Took a while. Credit to the Brentford fans for demanding that Calafiori knew exactly what he was doing there as he wriggled through a tight space. Damsgaard, probably a foul on Bremer out on the far touchline as well. But I think disappointingly for Brentford, Phil, I mentioned it sort of in the first half. When you play against a team that try to dominate you with the football and possession, on moments when you win it back, you can't give it away firstly, and you have to actually in a 50-50 come out with the ball and secure the ball. And there was a couple of occasions, only moments into this second half, where Brentford didn't do that, and then it allowed Arsenal the momentum of the attacks, and obviously those corners that they forced, firstly to get the second goal, and obviously then Martinelli to volley in for potentially the match-winning third.
Flecken with the free kick. Collins hooks it over his shoulder into the 18-yard box, headed away by Gabriel. Yana will try and hook it back into the danger area. Damsgaard with a header, which is volleyed away by Mikel Merino. Up in the air it goes. Scored the second goal from that corner kick. And then Martinelli, who got the third, is dispossessed, and Brentford come away with it. Damsgaard to Collins to sweep it back behind him when he finds Roerslev, who dinks it to the back edge of the centre circle, and Sepp van den Berg. There's still plenty of time in this game, over half an hour to go. So
yeah, it would be amazing from a neutral perspective, and certainly from Brentford fans' perspective, if they can get it to 2-3. Just a chance to get another goal on the scoreboard, because I think Arsenal would be a little bit vulnerable and nervous because the pressure's on them tonight.
Definitely.
And the start of this second half has shown that they can handle that with how impressive they've been.
Roerslev He's able to gallop down that right-hand side and checks his run a third of the way into the Arsenal half of the pitch, and rolls it infield to Mikkel Damsgaard. Back it comes to Vitaly Janelt, blue-booted, the German international. As here is Keane Lewis Potter on the left for Brentford, slipping it into Yarmoliuk inside the Arsenal penalty area. Norgard with a sort of cross which is too straight and too close to David Raya, makes a comfortable grab inside his 6-yard box. Still 3-1 Arsenal. 5 of the 9 defeats this season have been with a single goal margin for Brentford, but Arsenal looking to stretch their leading margin. And here's Gabriel Jesus, just pokes it goalwards after being forced out to the left of the 6-yard box. Thought maybe it taken a deflection from a Brentford block on the way through. Doesn't get the corner he's after, and it will be a goal kick to Mark Flecken. Bradley Allen.
I think the other thing as well with this Arsenal side that's not sort of truly being commentated on, Phil, where they're going to be a challenge for the challengers and big challenges to Liverpool for the title this season. They can win ugly.
Yeah.
When you look at the thrilling football and the exciting attacking football that Slot has delivered with possession and that press and that energy that Klopp had previously at Liverpool, and the players that he's got and why they're top of the league. This Arsenal side, in a snooker analogy, they can almost Doug Mountjoy, Cliff Thorburn their way to results, Phil, can't they? Especially with the set play power plays that they had. It's ugly, it's not pretty, but boy, it gets you Premier League points, and it's going to run them really, really close.
Unbeaten in 11 coming into this game, 2 defeats in the last 16 for Arsenal. And as you said, not all of them have been spectacular wins. Some of them are playing in a way that's just digging out that victory. Gabriel Jesus is flagged for offside. Christian Norgard wants to get on with taking a free kick. Sepp van den Berg, the flame-haired defender, allows it to be whipped out wide to Ruslev by Yarmoliuk. And Brentford trailed by 3 goals to 1 point forward.
Man City have been Ronnie O'Sullivan, aren't they?
Yeah.
But he's past his best. Maybe they're past their best a little bit this season.
Here's Mbeumo down the right-hand side for Brentford. Closed down by Gabriel. Still with it for Brentford, and he finds Mikkel Damsgaard, who darts towards the byline, and he runs into a bit of a cul-de-sac, but somehow manages to emerge with a corner kick.
Well, brilliant noise from the Brentford fans. And Mbeumo to take this corner.
Over on the right-hand side.
Got to attack this one aggressively. Get that touch. Put the goalie under pressure. Stand in the way of him. Don't let him come and catch it. Make those defenders have to challenge here. Well, really important corner this for Brentford.
Brentford have caused consternation at set pieces in the past. What can they do from this one? Arsenal, the masters at it this season. Referee is unhappy with some pushing and shoving that is taking place. It's likewise as well with Arsenal. It's about defending set pieces. In the past there's been some accusations, weren't there, that Arsenal were a little bit soft when it came to defending their set pieces. Yarmoliuk trying to make a nuisance of himself inside the 6-yard box. He's being manhandled by Gabriel. He's still trying to get himself a bit of position. He's allowed to find a space, isn't he?
Absolutely.
You're in timber with him. Here comes Mbeumo. Not the best of corners, maybe. Well, it would have. If Ruslev could have connected better with that, it would have been. Now Arsenal with a breakout, and the goalkeeper Mark Flecken has to head it out of play on this near touchline. Gabriel Martinelli was the one darting onto it. Flecken had a great start position.
It's a great corner. A training ground routine that was worked, and although it's a bouncing ball, Arsenal were not expecting that. They thought Mbeumo was going to play into the 6-yard box, and it sort of skipped in, and Visser from a difficult height had a volleyed effort that he scuffed, and at the other end on the counter, Flecken swept up very well.
Wanyeri just outside the Brentford penalty area, as his left-footed curling cross goes well out of play for a goal kick to Mark Flecken. 63 played. Brentford 1, Arsenal 3, and Flecken just with the ball tucked under his arm in Lincoln Green goalkeeping kit, I would suggest. Lincoln Green, going with that?
Yeah, touch of the Robin Hoods.
Touch of the Robin Hoods. You can get cream for that.
Plenty of time, hour gone.
Here it is, right-footed, rifled over the halfway line, heads go up, and that's Urian Timber, who concedes the throw into Brentford inside their own half of the pitch. We are
going to see some changes by the looks of things.
It looks like it. Thomas Frank wants to make a bit of an alteration.
We're heading towards the hour mark, which is now the traditional substitution time.
Matthias Jensen might come on. Looks like he's going to be certainly one of the replacements used by Thomas Frank.
Kim Ji-soo as well, I think.
Yeah. He came off the bench for his Premier League debut at Brighton. Marino has come off worse from a challenge with Christian Norgard. He's holding his neck, he's up to his feet. Brian Mbumu puts Calafiori under a bit of pressure and he hacks it up the touchline. Roslev will try and get there. It bounces over the top of Martinelli's head. Marino is back to his feet and here's Damsgaard slipping it out wide to Mbumu. Makes an overlapping run, does Roslev, and Mbumu just tickles it back in field to Mikael Damsgaard again. Still with the ball at his feet is the Danish international. Dinks it towards Keane Lewis Potter down the left hand side. Keane Lewis Potter up against Juran Timber to Jan Moliuk, who turns away from Wanyeri. It's all very neat and intricate, and then Wanyeri catches Keane Lewis Potter. That's definitely a free kick on the point of the penalty area on the left hand side of the Brentford attack.
Well, this is going to be put into the Arsenal penalty box. Good position for Damsgaard, probably to take an in-swinger with his right foot here.
Here it comes from Damsgaard again. Brian Mbumu having a chat with Keane Lewis Potter. So it's an in-swing or an out-swinger. That the decision. Keith Andrews, the set-piece coach for Brentford, is up and ready. And he's got whatever indication he wants to send out to the players as to what he wants. Janout is still in a position which is currently offside. And now it will be Damsgaard to leave it for Mbumu. Left-footed, teases it, 6-yard box, headed away towards the far side of the penalty area. Calafiori there for Arsenal to whip it clear. Roslev and Martinelli challenging for it. Damsgaard comes away with it under pressure from Marino, and then has the ball at his feet again, and that's gone out of play from Mikael Marino for another Brentford throw just inside the Arsenal half of the pitch.
Well, credit to Brentford here. Their players are having a go. They're a bit sharper to the ball, but in this little spell, they've got to create something, got to get a chance and force an error if possible.
Come on Brentford, the cry from the Brentford fans. The Arsenal fans, most of them stood in that quadrant diagonally opposite us. Hearts Gooners. And it's one of the signs that Hearts as in Hertfordshire.
Yes.
As opposed to an Edinburgh-based joint supporter group.
Organ that pumps the blood around the body.
Yeah,
that's what I thought you were going to say.
No, I don't know. Hearts of Midlothian.
Yeah,
we've been there,
weird.
Bradley.
Oh, that was some trip.
Here at Brentford, Wissa. It's Janout who tries to invite the ball onto him, but he didn't have the pace to beat Juran Timber, who read that, shut the door pretty effectively, and Calafiori receives it for Arsenal halfway inside his own half on the left-hand side. It's about game management at the moment for Arsenal. They could work themselves an opportunity for another goal, and maybe Wanyeri can as he goes around Keane Lewis Potter and darts infield, still with the ball at his feet, and he clips it forward, but it was deflected for Norgard to bring it under control.
He did the hard bit, didn't he, with a clever nutmeg, and he should have played the crossfield pass, but he over-elaborated a little bit, and it allowed the hard-working Norgard and the Brentford midfield to just sort of regain possession. Arsenal fall back into disciplined 4-4-2 shape.
Halfway through the second half, Brentford trailing Arsenal by 3-1. Brentford led through Brian Mbumu. That was cancelled out by Gabriel Jesus before the break, and Mikael Marino from a set-piece corner routine from Arsenal, causing chaos, leading to the first go-ahead goal for the Gunners, added to by Gabriel Martinelli. And here go Brentford down the right-hand side with Wissa. Turning in field again. They've dealt with it pretty effectively, but Brentford have won it back, and Arsenal can't get it over the halfway line. Mikel Arteta getting a little agitated.
Yeah, he is.
Keane Lewis Potter on the left, stepping in off that flank for Brentford, flicking it towards Sepp van den Berg, who dinks it up in the air looking for Keane Lewis Potter. David Raya makes a comfortable take.
Yeah, it's a poor pass. Van den Berg just needed to just keep the ball on the floor there, and maybe an opening would have just presented themselves in front of the Brentford players. It's going to be the key. Maybe, you know, Jensen coming on and sort of orchestrating some manoeuvres and passing the ball for Brentford could be key here with just over 20 minutes remaining on the clock, normal time.
Some sharper pace maybe. but Arsenal sitting back, so it's where he goes with that pace if Arsenal sit back. And
Sharda is getting some instructions. No one's stripping off yet, but Sharda getting...
It's a bit cold.
Sharda is getting the iPad treatment.
Here is Sepp van den Berg.
Paris Magoma being readied as well. As I say, I'm not 100% sure that Norgard is 100%, if you see what I mean. So it looks as though Paris Magoma is going to come on as well. Combative midfielder, intelligent player, good player.
Flecken rolls it out towards Sepp van den Berg for Brentford. He's control lets him down, and then he gives the ball away, and it'll be Arsenal trying to break. Nathan Collins guides a header back down towards Van den Berg, whose brother plays for Middlesbrough. And he's given possession away for a second successive time. And here's Gabriel Martinelli inside the penalty area. The linesman thought about putting the flag up, now does put the flag up, and it will be a free kick for offside.
Yeah, he looks fatigued, doesn't he, Van den Berg?
Right,
where there's a change of formation. He's not had loads of football, has he, the big centre-half?
He's coming back from injury.
Not at this level.
Coming back from injury in this, and Jisoo is being warmed up as well, so I do think you might be right. I think it's going to be a quadruple substitution. Paris Magoma going to come on in midfield, Kevin Sharda up front, Matty Jensen, the midfield wizard with the wand of a right foot to distribute things a la quarterback, and Jisoo. So Jisoo, Magoma, Matty Jensen and Kevin Sharda had a little bit of pace up front.
It's almost half of the outfield that is being replaced in one go, Bradley. As here is Mikael Damsgaard, flicks it away towards Jan Molyuk, round the corner to Janel, cushions it out wide to Keane Lewis Potter, down the left hand side. Arsenal track back into their, again, strong and structured defensive shape created by Mikel Arteta, closing the gap to Liverpool to 6 points with a win here this evening. Liverpool will have a game in hand. It's against Everton, and that's at Goodison, and that will not be a gimme, Bradley. Even if Everton had no points on the board, we're heading into oblivion. A Liverpool trip there would still be difficult.
Very much so.
Even if it was only Sean Dyche playing.
At Goodison as well.
And they've taken points off the Gunners, and they've taken points off Chelsea. Saves Ipswich. I say that very quietly because Andrew's listening back at base. As it's chipped in towards Wissa, and it's gathered by David Raya. Odegaard spins away from the attentions of Keane Lewis Potter. Arsenal at the moment, Bradley, they're looking at the clock, and every time they just have a few more seconds in possession.
You know, that's the experience that they now got in these key games when the pressure's on them. You know, their management and how they sort of keep their discipline, keep the shape is absolutely
lovely roll ball,
impeccable, Phil, isn't it, really?
Timber into the penalty area, finds Gabriel Jesus. Martin Odegaard just feathered a pass through to him. It's perfect from the Norwegian, won it to Gabriel Jesus. He's such a clever player,
and his return as well, Phil.
Yeah.
In this sort of moment should not be understated.
Here's Jesus on the right hand side. Scored a lot of goals of late. 5 against Palace, hat-trick of course in one of the games, and they different competitions they played. And Martin Odegaard just being shepherded backwards towards the halfway line, but Arsenal in possession. This time again tries to turn it around the corner towards Timber. Wanyeri to Odegaard, flicks it towards Wanyeri. Brentford get caught again in a rather awkward position, and it's Jan Molyuk who turns just out of the danger that was being created, and it's Keane Lewis Potter in the left back berth, and he's going to drive it long over the halfway line, and David Raya will get there. The quartet of changes for Brentford still wait on the sidelines because the ball has not gone dead, Bradley, for about 3 minutes now.
No, it's in play, and the circulation of it is not allowing that stoppage for the subs to be made. And you know, sometimes when you're leading a game, Phil, coaches now have a sort of a title. I'll come back to you because Jesus is breaking into the right corner of the penalty box.
Jesus down the right hand side again, almost rolled out of play for a goal kick to Temba. Here is Mikel Merino, flicks it around the corner to Odegaard. He thought about the back heel, looking for the run of Gabriel Martinelli, gathered by Mark Flecken inside his 6-yard box. But
you call them finishers.
Yeah.
So you're winning the game and you get over the line with the fresh legs that you put on.
Yeah.
these 4 that are going on for Brentford, they need to be game changers.
They do.
And in a significant fashion. But good break from Brentford down the right.
In towards Wissa. That's gone out of play for a corner kick. You won't change at corners. They won't make the alterations now. Well, they will make the alterations now. Well, Seth van den Berg is going to be replaced by Kim Ji-soo.
Number 36.
And we're also going to see Mikkel Damsgaard come off to be replaced by Paris Mahoma. Matthias Jensen and Kevin Schade waiting on the sidelines as well. They're receiving some instructions from the set-piece coach. So Damsgaard's played a lot of football, he's off. And Kevin Schade is going to come on for Johan Wissa. And the last one, Matti Jensen for Christian Norgard. So, received wisdom, Bradley, tells you don't make a change at a set-piece. Brentford have changed half their outfield at a set-piece. Maybe that's the sort of chaos that's going to lead to a goal.
Well,
no one knows who's picking up who now.
Absolutely. Maybe that's part of the master plan.
Matti Jensen will now run 75 yards to take the corner, I think.
He's also going to get the captain's armband that was given to him by Vitaly Janelt. And Mbumu is on the corner. Matti Jensen goes close for the short corner. And Brian Mbumu says, what do you want me to do? Matti Jensen tells him. And Arsenal themselves are going to make a triple change. Trossard, Lewis Skelly and Rice all coming on for Arsenal. What we played, 75 minutes. Brentford trailing by 3 goals to 1. It'll be a trio of changes for Arsenal in a moment or two. Here comes the corner kick, and David Raya gathers it pretty well, and then runs at Kevin Schade. That looked a bit risky to me, Bradley, because he changed his line of run to run at the Brentford frontman, did David Raya. And referees could look at that, but they're not going to. And David Raya pings it long in midfield, won by Odegaard. But Brentford come away with it, and Arsenal's players wait on the sidelines. The £119 apparently, those varsity jackets. You can get your name put on the back, Billy.
You get your name put on the back?
Well, you can do, yeah.
But an extra cost, presumably.
Yeah, per letter. So if you had a really short name, if your name is Arbuthnot, then Arbuthnot Jenkinson Smythe, it probably would be quite expensive. Double that. I'm not sure that would fit, would it?
I don't know, Phil. Anyway, here's
on the left-hand side are Brentford with Keane Lewis Potter. The Arsenal substitutes continue to warm up on the sidelines. Brad, it's horrible, isn't it? You wait on the sidelines and you want to come on a cold night like this, Bradley.
Yeah, you want a stoppage, don't you? You want to,
you're also hoping to
and have an impact and take your opportunity in the minutes that you're going to get.
You're also hoping.
Thing is, well, you want to do it quite quickly, Phil. You know why?
Yeah, because otherwise
you'd be running afterwards.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. At what point do you get on and not have to run with the sports scientist? What is the minute?
Well,
that beyond which, if you come on after now. Well, anyway, it's Calafiori coming off for Lewis Skelly, Ethan Nwaneri replaced by Leandro Trossard, and Declan Rice is going to come on for Thomas Partey, Martin Odegaard, no, Mikel Merino. So they're the 3 changes for Arsenal.
Mikel Merino, number 41, Declan.
So Bradley, what are these 3 players who are coming off the bench now going, phew, I'm not going to have to do the rundown of shame that everyone else has to do?
Possibly. It might then depend on
how much
tomorrow,
the
training that you do or don't do, with one eye on Saturday's fixture. And keeping the players fresh. That's where the consultation across departments has to be relevant and very important to know what sort of data these players are at and where they're physically and what markers they're not hitting or are hitting.
Brighton at the weekend for Arsenal, then Newcastle next week in the League Cup semi-final first leg, then it's Man United at home and Tottenham Hotspur. Bradley, the North London derby is hoving into view. It could be repeated at Wembley in a League Cup final.
It may well be, yeah.
Could you imagine? Flecken in the 6-yard box. Martinelli doesn't put him under pressure. Flecken's able to roll the ball under his studs, and he clips it out wide to Lewis Potter on this left-hand side. Paris Mahoma infield. Back it comes from Paris Mahoma to Kim Ji-soo. And the young South Korean getting more minutes in the Premier League footballing arena.
All good.
This is a different circumstance to what was happening at Brighton on Friday night. That'll be Brentford with Mbumu down the right hand side, push back to Jan Mollier. He's dispossessed, but Mbumu comes back to win it for Brentford, and Nathan Collins teases it forward and finds Paris Mahoma, who holds off the challenge of Leandro Trossard, talking about Brighton, former Brighton man of course. Couple in the Arsenal ranks. Ben White's injured.
Jensen is a lot further forward than I was expecting him to be. He's more in the Damsgaard role, with Paris Magoma more in the 6 role.
Kim Jisoo swept forward for Schade to chase. He's up against Saliba and he manages to win the ball away from the Arsenal defender, and back it comes towards the halfway line, and Jisoo again just kept in by Matthias Jensen. Brentford has Southampton at the weekend, and this run that Brentford are on without a win at the moment, this would be a 4th defeat in 5 if this was to stay like this, Bradley. That Southampton game now looks quite important, because you don't want this run to continue, and Southampton would be seen as a team that are there as a beatable team.
Absolutely, Phil, and in the second half of the season as well, not sort of adding pressure where Brentford's better or only chance really comes with winning games here.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to have to strike a balance, and that is one area that I'm sure would have frustrated Thomas Frank so far. One thing and point that I'd like to make, it's good to see Paris Magoma featuring. He's a player who I coached when he was younger. I won't lie, he was a challenge, you know, as a personality, and the type of kid that he was, at times a bit moody, a bit sultry, but what he's done with a loan spell is he's manned up. He went to Bolton with Ian Evatt. I think that toughened him. The arduous of real Football League football, and now he's back here and he's obviously improving to be in the thoughts of Thomas Frank now. And I think Thomas Frank, again, we spoke about this before the game, that's another added strength that he has in terms of player developing some of these young players with loan experiences and on the training pitch.
Groans from the Brentford fans, because Brentford took a quick free kick from over on the right hand side. Kevin Schade was in from the free kick because Arsenal hadn't reset themselves defensively, but the referee was unhappy, Peter Banks, and it is a frustration now that you are just not seemingly allowed to take a quick free kick anymore, and it just allows defences to get back. And it is frustrating that you can't catch someone. It's a bit like, I mean, in rugby, you know, you take a quick tap penalty and you're away. You should be given the opportunity to do that and take the risk of turning over if you don't get it right. But here it goes from Fleck. Schade heads it down the left hand side, looking for Keane Lewis Potter, puts Timber under a little bit of pressure. Jurrien Timber though is back pedaling. It's one back by Kim Jisoo, and he wins a throw in on the left hand side, level with the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. 8 minutes to go plus added time. 3-1 Arsenal lead.
They've got to push. You know, they've got 4 players on, fresh legs. Can they be effective here, these substitutes? Can Brentford work enough of the football into that final third and just put Arsenal under the necessary pressure? Throw in. Jensen to take.
Arsenal have just been trying to snooze the game down a little bit, really, haven't they, since going 3-1 up. It's a throw in though. It's launched into the penalty area by Matthias Jensen. Oh, it's towards the far post. David Raya scrambles for the ball and gets on top of it in the end. But
Gabriel, essentially, after the initial touch, he got under the ball. He didn't anticipate that it was going to be flicked on, and then Buemo was just behind his marker. Otherwise, he would have prodded in from close range.
Here come Arsenal at the other end. Chance to stray forward with Lewis Skelly. Trossard poked it back towards the halfway line, and Gabriel. Again, it's Arsenal's turn to slow things down if they can when they're in the possession of the ball. Oh dear. Roersleff poked it out of play on that far touchline, needlessly giving Arsenal a throw in, and Arsenal will say, yep, we'll just take our time with this. 7 minutes to go. Thomas Frank in conversation with one of his assistant head coaches, or assistant to the head coach, like assistant to the regional manager, Klaus Norgard. And Arsenal with the throw in down the left hand side, try and just again win further possession, and they do so with Nathan Collins poking it out of play for another throw level with the edge of the Brentford 18-yard box. Bradley Allen.
But all these stoppages, it's part of the master plan for Arsenal. Ball off the pitch, doesn't allow Brentford the ball, possession to build, the rhythm. They can be, when necessary, Arsenal, in game, momentum killers. They're terrific at that. Is it a pleasant watch? Absolutely not.
Well, it is for the Arsenal fans in the far corner, isn't it?
Because it gives them a chance to win very, very important Premier League matches by having the ability to do this when you're leading a game.
Yeah, it's about getting ahead and staying ahead, isn't it? And Arsenal took the lead early in this second half. 2 goals in the first 8 minutes of the second period, and it meant that it went out to a 3-1 lead for the North Londoners.
Billy would agree with me, but that's probably on the evening the most disappointing thing from Brentford's point of view, that first 10 minutes of the second half.
Yeah.
If it would have stayed 1-1, even if Arsenal would have took the lead at 2-1, but because it's 3 and 2 swift goals that Arsenal scored, this game has been done for quite some time, you'd think.
I agree. Scrappy defending as well for those 2 goals.
Well, here go Arsenal again. It's been well won by Martin Odegaard down the right-hand side. Gabriel Martinelli closed down by Kim Ji-soo for Brentford. Martinelli's going to take it into the corner, and then he whips it in near post. It's very reminiscent. It reminds me of the game on Sunday for West Ham against Liverpool in certain circumstances. West Ham almost got an equaliser by hitting the post. They probably didn't deserve it to get anything out of the game with the way Liverpool played, but Liverpool went bang bang 2-0, 3-0 within about 2.5 minutes just before half time. That was it, the game was done. And quick fire goals, and there was a spell last season Brentford had a propensity to concede quick fired goals.
And Brentford,
and it was costly.
And Brentford nearly went 2-0 up, didn't they, first half with that little fumble from David Raya, and then Arsenal straight up the other end for the equaliser. But Bradley's absolutely right, of course he is, that Arsenal came out like a train, second half forcing corners, forcing mistakes, and Brentford will look back on that 8 minutes as what cost them the game ultimately. But still, what have we got? 9 minutes or so to play.
Yeah, there's 4.5 plus added time. There will be 4 or 5 minutes of that, I would imagine, Bradley, inside the G-Tech, with the changes, goals, checks, and of course changes for substitutions as well. Yarmolyuk's done well to hold on to possession, slipping it forward, and Bumu just raced forward, didn't really look to where the ball was coming from, really. He was, I don't know what he was hoping for, really, Brian Mbeumo, but he didn't slide into his path, and Jurrien Timber is nudged over by Keane Lewis-Potter. That's a free kick to Arsenal.
Unnecessary challenge. He had the defender turn round and he was running out of room towards the byline.
Yeah.
But Yarmolyuk took the ball ever so nicely, smoothly on the back foot. He tried to play it to Mbeumo, who just sort of turned his body and misread the intended forward pass. On the pressure there, the former Hull winger jumped onto to Timber, but a free kick awarded. Perfect for Arsenal. 87 minutes approaching on the clock. Maybe another change to them as well.
Jorginho coming off the bench does make. Do you know? Could you imagine if you got someone from, like, I don't know, when Brentford were previously in the top flight, the 1930s, when you had a manager and, if you were lucky, someone with a bucket and a sponge who would deal with any injuries. The number of coaching staff that get up and have iPads and various things when players are coming. Can you imagine someone from the 1930s arriving, going, right, hang on, who's the manager out of all this 27 people sitting on the bench?
There literally wasn't the room on the bench in the 1930s.
It's incredible.
I think it was the Spurs-Manchester United game recently at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and the warm-ups of both sides.
Yeah.
How many assisting staff do you think Manchester United had out on the pitch pre-game?
Go on.
I didn't tell Jim Ratcliffe.
Go on.
Over 20.
That won't last. Jim Ratcliffe wants to go back to the manager and the bloke with a bucket and a sponge. That'll do him.
Over 20, Phil.
Incredible. Brentford try and bring it under control.
Listen,
from a free kick.
They're all important jobs.
Of course. It's been hacked away by Arsenal. Apparently someone's ripped a shirt. Someone. I don't know who. Gabriel Jesus. His shirt is ripped. As he plays it against the chest of Yarmolyuk, it bounced up onto his nose, I think, and then a little nudge from Trossard on Matthias Jensen, skimmed all the way back to the goalkeeper. Mikel Arteta watching on the sidelines, just wants to see this game out now. 2 minutes, Brighton away at the weekend, there's definitely a torn shirt there. Will he have to replace his own shirt in the club shop? Does he have to pay for his own name on the back? Probably not. Here is Paris Mahoma for Brentford on the left-hand side, forced backwards by Arsenal. We are 90 seconds away from finding out how much added on time is to be played here at the G-Tech, but it's going to be back-to-back home defeats for Brentford. Lost at home to Nottingham Forest, now lose at home to the team that were inspired to play in red by Nottingham Forest, weren't they? Because Dial Square got their first shirts donated to them by Nottingham Forest back in the day, and that's why Arsenal ended up playing in red and white.
Good stat. Two teams that are going well though. Brentford, losing to Forest, who are in the top 4. Arsenal are in the top 4.
That's forward towards Sharda though. Chests it down, edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Tried to create space for himself. Spins over, one back by Mads Röslev. Here goes the German down the right hand side again to Paris Mahoma. Very luminous yellow boots, and then a little flick from him to Röslev. Drives in across. Brian Mpuma's trying to get on the end of it. He won't even get to the ball as it squirts out towards this near touchline. Gabriel Martinelli's there to slide it back to David Rai, who hacks it clear towards the halfway line, and Kim Ji-soo flicks it into midfield, and it's met by Yarmoliak.
Yeah, good finish from Brentford. Almost a promising right wing move here with young Magoma there getting to the byline, just overstruck his cross beyond Mbuemo. Going again here, Arsenal just falling in, showing discipline, getting all their players back behind the ball.
Curve towards Nathan Collins.
4 minutes.
4 minutes of added on time to be played here at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford with the ball over on the right hand side. Paris Mahoma almost forgets to take it with him, but manages to retrieve the situation and find Mads Röslev on the right. Yarmoliak again with a little step over. Arsenal fans in good voice in the far corner of the... as it's whipped towards the far post, Nathan Collins tries to get on the end of it. It was just evading the Irishman.
The talented Jensen just sort of teasing a ball in centre field, curling towards goal with that right foot. Collins stayed up in attack, and he almost threw himself. Attempted diving header, just didn't quite make contact. Late sub here for Arsenal.
Yeah, I think it's Gabriel Jesus who is going off, scorer of the equaliser. He's going to be replaced by Alexander Zinchenko. And he has to walk around the side of the pitch. The Brentford fans are giving him a little bit of jip as he does so.
Yeah, good performance on the score sheet, an important equalising goal tonight. Back to good form, isn't he?
Yeah, it
whether
certainly
that will, change the recruitment thought of Mikel Arteta in this January transfer window with another striker remains to be seen. 7
goals now this season, 3 in the Premier League, including today for Gabriel Jesus. A couple against Crystal Palace in that League Cup win. A couple against Crystal Palace in the Premier League win at Selhurst Park. Here is Nathan Collins for Brentford, slipping it towards Röslev on the right hand side. Just pokes it with the big toe on his right boot to Yarmoliak on the right hand touchline. He's still inside his own half of the pitch. We're playing into the 3rd minute of added time in a moment or two as Kim Ji-soo whips it out wide towards the right hand side. A few empty seats inside the stadium now from some of the home fans. It's late-ish on a New Year's Day. Back to work tomorrow.
Yep.
I mean, we're back to work today, Billy. And
well, you never stop, do you? Football sport never stops.
It never stops. Headed away to Mpumu on the edge of the D in front of the Arsenal penalty area, but Arsenal have worked it clear and they're going to whip it over the halfway line, and Declan Rice striding forward like a Rolls Royce, purring over the halfway line as it's played back towards the boots of Zinchenko, who's on for Gabriel Jesus, who's now in the safety of his bench, not getting any flack from any of the locals.
You can buy a Rolls Royce a lot cheaper than you can buy a Declan Rice these days.
That's a good point. Yeah. Hanwell Motors do Rolls Royce and Bentley specialists on the
other Rolls Royce and Bentley specialists in Hanwell are available.
No, there's only one.
Yarmoliak's done all right.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a great player. He's works hard,
seeking and getting on the ball. I would agree there, Bill.
Well, it's going to benefit him.
Young lad,
nice
it's going to benefit him very much, isn't it?
Tricky coming from
performance.
Coming from Ukraine.
Here is Collins, Ji-soo for Brentford, and he slides it beyond King Louis Potter and out of play, and again that precipitates a few more to make for the exits. First,
KLP's worked hard. Brian and Bumo's worked absolutely the old proverbial socks off. Not that he's got any socks on, of course. Little wraparounds, but it's the what's that? That's 5, 1 draw.
Yeah, it's one win in 6 now in the Premier League.
Yeah,
4 defeats, a draw and a win.
Got some tough teams coming down here because they've played all of them away.
Well, the next set of games are Brentford, Southampton at the weekend, Plymouth in the Cup, Manchester City at home, Liverpool at home, Palace away, Tottenham at home, West Ham United and Leicester
I guess
away.
That Plymouth Cup game might be quite useful, I would have thought. Minutes in legs and so forth.
Yeah, opportunity for some of the younger players, squad players.
Yeah.
Because I think Thomas Frank is going to need them in the coming weeks and months. In moments to have an impact.
Get some of the injured players back. Got to beat Southampton. That'd be handy.
That's
3 points on the board there.
Referee says enough is enough. Peter Banks blows the whistle 3 times. Shakes of hands between Thomas Frank, Mikel Arteta, and Thomas Frank is now going to shake the hands of all the coaching staff in the Arsenal bench. So this could take a while. Hugs and a few embraces. Brentford taking the lead through Brian Mbeumo with his 11th goal of the season. Cancelled out by Gabriel Jesus though before the break, and then Arsenal with a devastating first 10 minutes after the break. First scoring with Mikel Merino from a corner kick routine which caused chaos inside the penalty area, and then the second a cross whipped in from the right hand side, which though Brentford will say Nathan Collins was impeded as he tried to head it away. It fell into the path of Gabriel Martinelli, who struck home a delicious volley for his 6th goal of the campaign. Full time then at the GTEC Community Stadium. It's finished. Brentford 1, Arsenal 3.